Hi, good day, everyone. It's Steve here, Steve Mead. I'm joined today by my good friend Paul Conway from YUNO. Paul, how are you doing?
Not bad, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, mate. More than welcome. Tell me about YUNO. What is YUNO? What does it do?
What does it do?
Do?
Yeah, certainly. It kind of came out of a kind of services company, working in London and working with Hamptons and Douglas and Gordon and Marsh and Parsons, etc. And we found that we needed to help them and their team make better decisions for them and their landlords. And this surrounded like a massive increase in various legislation that's came out. It's affecting them and their portfolio and the landlord's portfolio, etc., etc. So basically, YUNO empowers businesses and property to make better decisions.
Okay, so it's a tool for the lettings industry. How many companies are you working with at the moment? A lot? Few?
Our main partners, we have about 9 main partners at the moment in time. So yeah, Hamptons have been our development partner to date, which has been really, really handy. And then we've got a kind of few smaller agents, a few tech companies. We're having the chats with a couple of the portals at the moment in time, some mortgage brokers. So there's quite a few different customer types that are getting value out of YUNO. So it's certainly ones that we didn't think were going to be the case, but it's quite interesting.
Okay, so try and help people out there understand, why would I come to you as a lettings agent? Why would I come to you? What does YUNO do for me as such? And I think one of the big things is time saving. I think is one thing that we've discussed before. But sorry, yeah, I'll let you answer.
Yeah, certainly. So it's basically like, how do we kind of aggregate all of this data around the letting industry into one place? So obviously we're partnered with Sprift, and they're really good at all the kind of property report side of things. But how are you basically advising your clients on the best letting within that property? Is it a flat? Is it a house? Is it a building? What happens next? How do you advise on the best financial products, insurance products, licensing? We've got unique data sets all over the UK for property licensing, HMO licensing, Article 4 planning permission, advice on fire safety and certification, etc., and how all this works with your portfolio, how it all works, and how you advise your clients on like a whole host of legislation, a whole host of information that basically affects whether this property, before you invest in a property, before you let a property, before you sell a property, or you're managing the property, what's the best decision to make so that you can reduce risk, save time, and of course, and revenue.
Right. Okay. So how long's YUNO been going now?
It has been the platform we've started building just over a year and a half ago, basically. Obviously that's with Hamptons, and then we're just bringing on some newer partners at the moment in time. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Cool. All right. So what's your background then? How did you, what sort of made you, obviously, you've had a light bulb moment and an idea that the industry could use something like this. What's your background, and how did you get from, say, there to where you are now with YUNO?
So I started off in the oil industry, and then I was doing property on the side as well. So there was obviously a lot of kind of safety and regulation and everything that I was involved in the oil industry, and then coupled that with the property industry. Did a property development in Chelsea, did a social living concept or a co-living concept in South West London, and sold that just before the pandemic, which was fantastic. And now we are just concentrating on the kind of the service. We're concentrating the services model for a few years, and now it's all about kind of adding value to letting agents and anybody within the private percentage set at the moment in time, around kind of making better decisions for the portfolio. So that's what we're doing.
Okay. So just on a personal note, what were you doing in the oil industry? What was specifically, were you an engineer or?
Yeah, I did something called fiscal metering, which was the analysis of like mass flow and composition through pipes. So like if you extract oil and gas out of a well, you want to know how much oil and gas and of what quality you're exporting into the pipelines, because lots of platforms feed into the same pipeline. So when they sell the oil and gas at their end, they ask each platform, how much did you give us and what quality was it? So we measured that and then told them. So yeah, it's a really kind of geeky profession. But, yeah.
It's a real crazy sort of transition from something which is obviously completely different, a different industry altogether. and then coming into something like this? I mean, does the YUNO thing is how big can this grow? How big can it get? I mean, is it just a case of the more agents you get on board, or is it a lot to do with the integrations with other, let's say, ICG members? We're both members of the ICG. Is it, a case of Sprift you mentioned there? We've got a fantastic offering. I was speaking to Amy actually on the 10 minutes with Meadey a few weeks ago, and they're doing fantastic. They're expanding constantly. And do you see your offering, is your offering exactly where it is now? Is it just a case of the exposure, or are you still developing? Are you looking to develop further as you move on?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think as with any founder, I'm always 4 steps ahead of actually where a product is. So yeah, there's plenty of ideas and plenty of things growing. At the moment in time, our product was really well in London, and we're now kind of basically England-wide at the moment in time. So yeah, it's trying to get the data sets UK-wide, which should be done by June or July. Obviously, the most important thing about YUNO is, like, at the moment in time, if you enter an address, so tell us the address, tell us what kind of property you're running and how you're running it, and we'll take you through that unique journey. What's your property, what you need to do, why you need to do it, how much is this going to cost you, what is the, what's the sales prices, what's the rental prices, what's the yields that you're going to get out of this. With all that information, you can make a better decision. Actually, to be honest with you, this building full of flats is a rubbish use of this building. This flat, this house, this individual house is a terrible use of this, because your yield's sitting at 2.6, but if you run it like this, you'll get 7.4, etc., etc. So it's about giving you all that information of, like, this is what you're doing, this is what your property is just now. Here's all the information that you need, and here's a unique journey to take you through it, coupled with a marketplace with, like, experts and companies that are specific to your property and your journey. It's kind of like, well, every time you engage with a certain subject, for example, let's take one, for example, okay, we're going to look at fire safety. So then you go onto Google and you type in fire safety, and then you're ambushed by some commercial fire company that you speak to, and then they try and sell you something, etc., etc., etc. But really, you should have started somewhere else. Is this project actually viable? Is the design of the property actually going to get through licensing or planning? Is there going to be X, Y, and Z? So it's basically, where do you start? Are you asking the right questions? And then ultimately, the services companies that you're speaking to, are the best match for that problem? Yeah. Are they in the right sector? Are the right property, etc., etc. Yeah. So we've now asked, like, okay, well, now I'm going to tell you it's a flat, but it's going to get run as an Airbnb. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And it goes through. Okay, well, you actually need a different financial product if you're building a building with multiple flats that are for Airbnb. You actually need a different insurance product. You actually don't need licensing, but you might need planning. So all of these things, so every time you change the use of a property and how you mess around with it, it changes your journey and changes the things you need to know. So that's what YUNO's doing.
Okay. So it sounds to me like it's it's commercial as well as obviously residential letting agents. It's going to work for, but commercially, we'll build it into we're going to build it into the commercial sector as well, and it works exactly the same way. I was going to say,
you tell us what the property is. You tell us where it is. Address, match you to a UPRN. Tell us exactly how you're going to run the property. It's a commercial property. It's going to get used as an office. Okay, here's the 5 things you need to do. Okay, right. Actually, it's a commercial property. It's going to be a pub. Okay, here's the 10 things you need to do. So it works exactly as a logic-based program for multi-use commercial premises as well as things. So yeah, but that's still in the pipeline. So right now it's all about the residential sector. So the PRS and social housing sector can use it at the moment in time.
Good stuff. Sounds exciting. Sounds really exciting. Obviously, quite a few of the ICG members are looking, as they say, not just Sprift, looking at integrations, what you can do, but very much data-led, which is fantastic. Paul, thanks a lot for your time, mate. It sort of opened my eyes a little bit. I wasn't really 100% sure about what you guys offering was, and I'm sure there's lots of other people out there that will sort of hopefully take a listen to this and be educated. Thanks for your time today, mate. I shall catch up with you soon, as always, and look forward to seeing everybody else out there next week.